Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And today's video is all about science. With the advent of the space meta, we have received a considerable amount of power creep in this game. You know, Space Milim is probably the best nuker in the game now. The best single nuker with, you know, the stats to support it, the skills to support it. Obviously, a level 100 like equivalent Valentine can also hit very well, but I think Milim edges her out just because of the big boost plus the Drago. Really puts her above the rest. But we've also had a lot of support come in, not only from Milim herself, but from the hero, from Carrion, and, you know, even Protector Veldora, which we're not going to use today in the Advent of Fairness. But which buff is better for this team? Is Space Rimru's buff still really good? Or should he now be replaced? Because honestly, like, this is a good team right here. This is a runnable team. I have no problems with it. The only thing that I would probably do is, if anything, I would probably swap Rimuru for Frey for that double orb change. And that would make this team run super well on the blues. But, not under Cabby, but, you know, whatever. Details. But is Space Rimuru really necessary now? Because I have told people to re-roll for Space Rimuru. And, you know what, I think that still holds true after the Space Meta leaves, and after, you know, the hero and Space Milim are gone and not in the banners for a while. I still think that people should roll for Space Rimuru. Because of how good the Space team is, and when they do come back, you will have a very good supporter. But which buff is best? Rimuru's attack buff, the hero's crit buff, Wind Milim's ult boost, Space Milim's new space attack boost, and then we'll add in the Carrion effect on top of the hero boost to see, you know, how much of a difference that makes. So, I originally did this video against, like, the stupid little Predator battle against Veldora, but he has, like, 1800 defense. It's not really a fair showing as far as, you know, damage is concerned, or Space Rimuru's attack buff, since I'll throw up the math, it's really wonky here, but somehow, for some reason, they made Space Rimuru's attack buff stack strangely against how high the defense is of an enemy, instead of just being a 40% attack boost across the board, which, you know, most people would assume it would be. No, it's dumb. So it's not really fair if we put him against a low defense enemy and his attack buff is not as good as it could be. So we're going into EX2 Tempered Edge, just for testing though. We're going to run Cabby, you know, 12%, Milim is going to be our nuker, and then I will make a series of cuts for, you know, each buff that we're using individually, and then we'll compare which one is better, and, you know, if you should use one over the other, and so forth. So let's dive in, and I'll bring you guys back for the initial test. Okay, we are back for the baseline ult damage test. We're on turn 6, so from here on out, every single test that we do is going to be on turn 6, because turn 5, she still has like 80% magic resistance, and that's just ridiculous. So here, the enemy, Space Milim, doesn't have any additional defense, just her attack by 20%. 6,500 defense is much better than the 1,800 from the Predator Veldora. So let's get a baseline ult damage. This is nothing but the 12% passive from Cabby. And we get to 17,200. Okay, so 17,200 is the baseline. Now let's come back and see what we can do with each individual buff added. Okay, we're back for the first buffed test, again on turn 6. And now let's use the space attack boost that Milim comes with, just that, to get that baseline, since she's gonna have it regardless and I don't have to use anyone else. So space attack by 50%. And we did, what, 17,200 last time? So let's see how much this ult does now. It does 28,800. 11,000 more, which, you know, looks, yeah, okay. I will accept that number. Let's come back for the next one. Alright, we are back again for the next buff test, and this time we're going to use Space Rimuru's 40% attack on everything. So now we have that boost on, so obviously 40% attack is less than 50% space attack, but let's see what the number actually comes out being. So I believe the last one was 28,000 and change, And this one is 27.7. So about 1,000 less, which again, like if you try and do the math, it doesn't really add up. Like 1,000 damage for 10% less doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but that's the asinine way that Space Rimuru's buff is calculated. So let's come back. This time we're going to use the hero's buff. Alright, so I know I said use the crit buff next, but we've already got Wind Milim up here, so why not just use hers instead? So we're going to use the 70% Soul of Combos damage. Who came up with that name? Soul of Combos. Anyways, let's see how much this affects the DPS. So right now we're sitting around 27 to 28,000 with those other two buffs. What does this jump us up to? Will it be equivalent? 29. Okay, so we're increasing in increments of 1,000, almost. Yeah, okay, well, good thing we used her. Alright, now we'll come back with the crit buff. I almost had a heart attack, because she nuked the crap out of Milim, and then I was like, oh god, she's gonna do the follow-up attack on her, and she's gonna die, and I just wasted this 2 minutes, which, you know, isn't a long time, but still. Thankfully she didn't die. Alright, so let's use the hero's crit buff. So this is a guaranteed crit, and also a 30% crit resistance down on Milim. So it's doing double duty right now. So let's see how much we hit for now. So we've hit 27, 28, 29. Will this hit 26? Will this hit 30? Who knows? Find out now on today's episode of Milim. 28.7. Okay, well, it's pretty good. The low end, but not as low as it could. Okay, well. The last fight we used Wind Milim and then she died. This fight we used Space Milim and then she died. Man. Such vendettas we have against Milim here. She hates herself. I think this says more about Milim herself than anything else. Let's come back, and I think this time we'll use the crit buff with the crit boost from Carry and see how much that jumps up our damage. Okay, well, you'll notice that I had to use a cabbie meter, so we're at 140, but that doesn't affect our ultimate damage. That just affects how much green boost we get, because I was on turn 5 and I only had 1 green for Milim, and I was like, I don't want to reset. We're just going to use this so I can get her ult. So we're back now. So this test, we're going to combine the crit boost from Carrion with the guaranteed crit and crit resistance down with the hero, and we'll see if we can pop over probably 30k, maybe 31k, 32k. Who knows? Find out today. Oh, I used that joke already. Oh man, now I'm sad. Let's send it. And we do 33.2. Was that a Pierce too? God damn it. Okay, we're just gonna say 33. Right? 33, 32, whatever that was. Whatever that number was, we're just going to deal with it. And we're going to pretend the Pierce never happened. So technically we have used all of the buffs on the team. The individual buffs. We've used the space boost. We've used the regular attack. We've used the crit. We've used the crit with the crit power up. But we actually haven't used Milim's Drago effect yet. Because that does have an effect. Because it boosts, you know, the space attack, or the normal attack, or the crit damage. So I think we're gonna have to redo all this again. But that was very good baseline numbers, because sometimes you're not gonna have enough to use the Drago boost. And honestly, if you had to choose between using 3 big boosts or 2 big boosts in the Drago, I'd really just use the 3 big boosts. So let's come back and we'll test more science. Alright, part 2 of the test is now we're going to introduce the Drago effect to all of the buffs that we have used in the first half of the video. So right now we're just going to use the Drago buff by itself, which is only going to give her that 20% attack, but because the Drago will affect that 20% attack, it's actually going to be 24% attack. And we also buff up the 12% space boost we get from the Cabbie leader skill, so now that's up to 14.4. So we are getting, you know, a slight increase in stat right here. So obviously we're going to hit harder than if we didn't use it at all. I don't know if we'll hit as hard as just these like attack boost or something like that. I don't really know. I don't know if this and that will offset each other. Let's find out. We'll get a baseline again, and then we'll start adding on all the buffs. So here we hit 24.2. So yeah, definitely went up. It was like what, 17,000 or something when we started out. So definitely a jump right there. Let's start stacking now. All right. For the I guess the second half of the video, I guess we don't have as many boosts to use because the Drago is not affected by the crit resistance down or crit rate up, because we're guaranteed to crit regardless. 100% does not make any difference than 120%. And the resistance down is a debuff placed on Milim, so it doesn't affect our Drago. But we can definitely use the Drago with Space Milim's own attack boost for 50%. So right now we're doing two separate buffs. We're doing Milim's 20%, and then we're doing the 50%. But because of the Drago effect being a 1.2x multiplier, Milim is now up to, let's see, 24% attack and 60% space attack, alongside the increase in the base boost that we get from Cabby, which is now up from 12 to 14.4. And so we're getting two buffs here, and we're also increasing the percentage of that. So now let's see how much we do with the space boost only, technically, and then Milim's Drago. And we hit 42,000, so a very significant jump from, I think, what was the 27 that we got originally? 42. Interesting. Let's come back. Alright, we're back for the next test. This time we're going to use the Drago with the Space Rimuru buff. Now, the interesting thing to note here is that because Drago has the default 20% attack boost, this is actually canceled out by Rimuru's 40% because they're both temporary, and Rimuru's is higher. So you can see that our attack by 24 is grayed out because it is replaced by the 48 because that is a higher multiplier. But the Drago is still affecting the 40 because now it's up to 48%, obviously. And we're still getting, the boost from the extra Cabby effect. So this is pretty much just an 8% increase in damage alongside this 2.4% increase in space attack. So I highly, highly doubt it will hit as hard as the last test with the attack plus the space boost, but let's see where it puts it. Yeah, ooh, 30, 30,000. Okay, so there's that for you. So is there really a point in using Space Rimuru's boost when you already have an attack boost from Milim, and you could use that free 55 points to use her own buff? It's probably a safe bet that you really wouldn't have to nowadays, unless you're looking for like maximum buffs. But we have one more test to do, and that is the crit with the crit power up, and then that will be the end of the video. So I'll see you guys very soon. I guess we could use the Drago with the ult boost because we are getting that separate 20% attack boost alongside the ult boost. So you know what? Let's do that. Let's for the sake of science, let's use everything that we can. So now the ult is boosted by 70% all down there, and then we get the Drago effect for the extra little 2.4% plus the 24% attack. So let's see what this hits. It will definitely be higher than the Space Rimuru buff, I'll tell you that much right now. Will it break 42 though? 41.1. Almost. Almost, but not quite. So, there's a very interesting thing. The ult boost plus the attack boost from Drago is less than the Drago boost with the space attack boost. Oh, see, we're learning things now. Learning things. But now comes the absolute final part of the test, the crits. Be right back. Alright, second to last part of the video, we are going to do the hero boost with Drago this time. So we won't benefit really from the hero's skill because it doesn't really boost anything that's going to increase our damage because the crit rate is guaranteed 100%. Like, we're gonna crit. And the crit resistance is, again, a debuff, so Drago doesn't affect that. But we will get the 20% attack boost from Drago, so that will increase the damage slightly. But how slightly is that actually going to be here? Let's find out. We hit 40.6. Okay, well that's a reasonable number. Okay, 40.6. Let's move on to the final part where the hero and Carrion's crit boost now. Okay, final part of the test. The guaranteed crits plus the resistance down, plus the Drago, plus the extra 20% crit damage from Carrion. So, the only thing that Milim is getting here from all of this is the 24% attack boost from Drago, and then the 24% crit damage, because the crit rate right here, crit rate up 120%, like doesn't matter. Like it's either 100% or 120%, regardless, we're gonna crit. That has no effect on the damage, other than the fact that we're gonna crit. And then the 30% resistance down on Milim is a debuff, which Drago does not affect. So extra 4% crit damage, but we get the 24% attack and that 2.4% boost from Cabby. So this, I think, will do probably the most damage. Let's find out. Yeah, 46.3. Okay, so there we go. Because we had, technically 3 buffs on us right there. So I had assumed that would be the most damaging one, and it truly was. So what have we actually learned here? More than anything, using Space Rimuru as a main buffer if you have Space Milim is not really a factor anymore. Because the extra boost that you get from that, you can definitely have better numbers using other boosts. So if you had a choice between using the Drago with Milim and either Space Rimuru's attack boost or Milim's space boost, you're gonna have more luck and more damage using just Milim's buffs by themselves. And so is Rimuru really necessary for the space team anymore when you have, this boost and you have this boost and you have Carrion's boost and you have Milim's boost? It's like, I don't know, because if you were to use everything, that's 55, that's 55, that's 55, that's 55, so that's already 220 points, and then you've got the Drago, which is 15, and then you've got the crit, which is another 15, so 250 points that you want to use right there. Like, yeah, you could, if you get lucky and you can pop Veldora enough, or you're running Cabby and you can get greens, but then it's like you need someone to get greens on your team. And I think that for a pure kind of space team with an alt buffer, whoever that may be, I think that Space Rimuru is the most replaceable unit on this team. And now, if you don't have Carrion, obviously you're not going to be able to take advantage of that 20% crit boost, and so then he could be replaced technically, and you could bring in Frey for an orb changer. But if you have Carrion and you have Rimuru and you have this, if you have this team right here, I think that you're pretty safe in taking away Rimuru. He's got the AoE alt, so your AoE, your single target, you're the nuker, you're there for the buff, which no longer really applies if you have the rest of this team set up. And so you can be replaced with Frey for the orb changing, or Valentine if you're going to run Cabby. I think you are the most replaceable unit, unfortunately. Now, the one thing that I have not mentioned yet is that we've only used the ult, so our DPS could expand greatly if we have, an extra card of Milim or an entire hand of Milim that the attack boost or the crits or the space boost will hit. So, I mean, your potential DPS definitely goes up. The only one that doesn't go up is Wind Milim, because that only affects the ult. So, but that's a slight drawback. Like, if I'm gonna nuke with the ult. Duh. We're gonna do like 150k if we use everything, all these fucking buffs, if not more. So, I like this team. I like this team a lot. It runs better probably without you now. But if you don't have this team, if you don't have some of the supports, then if you have Rimuru, then bring Rimuru. Like, his buff is still good. His defense buff is good. His attack boost is good. But it does get overshadowed by some of these other ones, and it does negate, half of the Drago. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the science test today. Let me know if you learned anything from it in the comments below. But for now, take it easy, guys, and I'll see you later.